and welcome to another episode of the Trans 101 series. Today we are going to be talking about social transition. What does that even mean? What is a social transition? Why am I complicating everything by introducing all these different types of transitions to this Trans 101 video? Well, I want to talk about social transition because it is something that affects almost every single trans person before they are able to medically transition, if they choose to medically transition. More on medical transition in the previous episode. Please take a look at that if you don't know what I'm talking about, and then come back to see me here. What do I mean by social transition? Well, social transition can mean coming out to people around you, your friends, your family, yourself, your partner, all of these things, all of these different aspects of your life, but also coming out at work. All right, and also being able to tell all of these people that yes, that you are trans, but another aspect of social transition is to tell them the new name that you are now going to be going by and the pronouns that you're going to be using. So yes, this kind of is like a coming out, because that's basically the main aspect of the beginning of what a social transition is. So I'm gonna talk about social transition before people start hormones, if they choose to go on hormones. And the reason why I wanna talk about this is because it's something that is so important and something that some people can go through and some people don't want to go through. So yeah, let's go into it a little bit more. So I know some people who have come out as trans and are on wait list in order to get hormones and therapy and all of that fun stuff. And in order for them to still feel like they are taking charge of their life and they are coming out and they are expressing themselves, they have come out to everyone and have told them, you are now going to call me by, Chase, and you're going to be using he pronouns to refer to me. This might be very hard for some people because the person that is socially transitioning might not physically look like the gender they are trying to present as. I know that sounds rude, but listen, we are in this society that has this box, these two boxes of male and female, and if you look like one box, people are going to assume you're that box. So socially transitioning is basically looking at these two boxes and kind of telling people, I know I look like this, but I'm this, and you need to see me as this. And that can be very hard for some people, especially if the person, the trans person, gender non-conforming person, non-binary person, does not physically look like the gender they are trying to present as. I'm saying it's hard for some people because, like I said, society is obsessed with these two boxes of gender. So I think that I know this is corny, but it's very brave for a lot of trans people to socially transition, especially people who choose to never go on hormones or who can't access hormones or pay for hormones or be on hormones right now because their family won't accept them, but they are still choosing to socially transition. I'm saying that it's a very brave thing because this is something that I was not able to do, all right? I was terrified of telling people my name and telling people my pronouns, and it was very hard for me, and I actually waited until after therapy and after I started hormones to then finally tell people that I am trans or I go by he pronouns, because I thought for me it was a lot easier for them to see me as male if I look male, which is very problematic, but that's just the only thing that I could do. Now I have friends who 100% before they started hormones told people, call me this name, call me this pronoun, and they were very adamant about that, and they would correct people when they would say things wrong. Whereas on my side, I would never correct anyone because I was terrified of correcting anyone. I didn't know that we could correct people back then. That was a very long time ago. So social transition takes guts. So if somebody comes up to you and tells you, hey, I'm trans, the person in your life, not some random person on the street, they come out to you and they're letting you know, it is very, very important to respect them and to don't go and, oh, you're so brave, don't say that. But it's very important to be respectful of the person's name and of the person's pronouns. Now, I've talked about this in this series as well, how important names and pronouns are, especially when somebody is socially transitioning. So obviously take a look at those videos. I'll put the links in the description below. But I think that this concept is super, super important for people who are not able to either go on hormones, they can't afford it, their family won't accept them, or for people who never want to go on hormones. You are still transitioning. Just because an individual does not want to medically transition does not mean that they are not trans. Their transness and their trans identity and their transition is as valid as somebody else who medically transitions. I went a little bit into the medical transition video that I posted previously. So take a look at that if you want me to kind of repeat myself here. I feel like once we acknowledge that trans people aren't the same, we don't all have the same life story, we weren't all traumatized as children or had good childhoods, we don't all transition the same way, we don't all want hormones. I think it is super, super important that we respect the trans people in our lives. And if you are at work and you have a trans person that has come out at work and maybe you don't know them that well, but you hear other people kind of like talking smack and saying some very rude things about this person, and maybe you watch this video and maybe now you know a little more about trans people, and it's a good idea to either stand up for that person or just be an ally for them. But I think it's super important if you're at work and you have somebody, a coworker who just came out as trans. I know that it can be very hard at first to respect someone's pronouns and respect someone's name, especially if they don't look like the gender that you're associating those pronouns with. Like you're saying he, and in your mind, he means male pronouns. Problematic, but that's another story. So you're like, oh, male, this person has to be male, they have to look male. But your image of what looks male isn't what the image of what this person might look like. And you kind of have to rethink and reevaluate the way that you see people and the way that you see society. And honestly, like, the biggest thing here is about respect. Social transition is so important for so many people in the community, and some people are too scared to do it. Other people are doing it and they were thriving, and they are still thriving doing it. And those are the people who are absolutely amazing and deserve to, I don't want to give you a gold star because you're awesome for doing that. It's hard. I can't, not like I can't even imagine, like obviously I can, but it is something that is very hard to do, especially with society's rigid rules. Also, I'd like to point out that some people might not consider their transition a social transition. They might just say that they're transitioning. I'm just giving a name to it because a lot of people talk about social transition, especially before they're able to go on hormones. Okay, so this is like it's kind of like if you're gonna put a timeline on transition for some people, socially transitioning is usually the first step, because you're admitting to yourself how you felt your whole life, and then you're telling other people, and then you're telling other people to respect who you are and respect your pronouns. And in my view, that is what social transitioning is. Anyways, I hope that this video helped a little bit. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments below. I will put links to everything that I've talked about in this video in the description, and I will see you for the next episode. Have a great day. Bye.